Very good morning, children. Welcome back to the English online class. Children, in today's English class, we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 10, and the name of the chapter is En Route to America, which is written by Nayantara Sehgal. Children, now before starting the lesson, let me first ask you, what is your idea of traveling? What do you think about traveling? So, children, traveling, it leaves you speechless and then turns you into a storyteller. So, whenever you come back from any holiday or vacation after traveling, you become a storyteller. You wanted to tell each and everything that you have experienced while being in the vacation, what you have done there, what were the things that you liked there, and what were the things that you explored. So, you always wanted to tell all these things to your friends, maybe your siblings or cousins after coming back from the holiday. So, children, now today we are going to start the chapter En Route to America, which is written by Nayantara Sehgal, and she has also, in the same way, in this chapter, told us that what she experienced while traveling to America in 1943. So, children, this chapter number 10, En Route to America, written by Nayantara Sehgal, is an extract from her memoir. Memoir means a historical account or biography which is written from personal knowledge. So, in this chapter, we are going to study about her personal experience, what she experienced while traveling to America, and why she was traveling to America. We'll come to know or we'll learn it in the lesson. So, let us begin first with the author's introduction. Nayantara Sehgal. She was born on 10th May 1927. She is an Indian writer who writes in English. She is a member of Nehru Gandhi family. The second of the three daughters born to Jawaharlal Nehru's sister Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Sehgal attended a number of schools as a girl. Given the turmoil in the Nehru family during the last years, that is 1935 to 47, of the Indian freedom struggle, ultimately she graduated from Woodstock School in the Himalayan hill station of Lendore in 1943 and later in the United States from Wellesley College. BA she did in 1947, which she attended along with her sister Chandralekha, who graduated 2 years earlier in 1945. She has made her home for decades in Dehradun, a town close to Landor, which she had attended boarding school at Woodstock. So, children, now let us begin with the chapter. Nayantara Sehgal was born on 10th May 1927. She is the niece of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. Politics and history inspire and underlie much of her writing. Most of her writings bring out concerns of independent existence of women. She was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award for English in 1986 for her novel Rich Like Us. This is an extract, means this chapter is an extract from her memoir, that is Prison and Chocolate Cake. So let's start reading the chapter. Some things will always remain a mystery to me. One of these is the perpetually baffling question, how did Mummy and Papu, means Papa, ever have the courage to send us to America in 1943? Many people had journeyed abroad before the war, and many more were to go after. But few went as we did at our age, from a peaceful country on a troop ship at the height of the war. I have grown up since then, married and had children of my own. Yet, the older I grow, the less able I am to answer that question. I am quite certain that I could never send my children away from home so confidently and fearlessly in such circumstances. Perhaps it is because I have not had the training and courage and discipline that my parents had. At any rate, there we were on board ship in Bombay Harbour, waiting for the voyage to begin. My aunt, Mummy's only sister, Krishna Hut Singh, who lived in Bombay, had rushed us through our last minute shopping and the numerous other arrangements that traveling during wartime entailed. She had seen us off at the dock with garlands of flowers, had put a red tilak on our foreheads, and had given us each a coconut containing a handful of Indian earth in case you get homesick. She was clearly apprehensive about our journey, though she did her best to hide her fears and told us stories about her own first exciting trip abroad. The thing to remember, she said, is to look helpless but be efficient. That way, everybody gives you a helping hand, and if everybody doesn't, you can take care of yourself anyway. We found it was sage advice. Sage advice means, children, the wise and knowledgeable as a result of a lot of experience. Though Lekha afterwards complained that it did not work out so well. As I always looked helpless, she was forced to be efficient. The ship had no facilities for recreation. There was no deck tennis, swimming, dancing, cinema shows, or any of the other amenities of travel by sea. According to our dispirited fellow passengers, the voyage offered nothing but drabness, dullness, and seasickness. And of course, there was always the possibility of attack by an enemy submarine as informed by the captain. Lekha and I were totally unconcerned about these warnings. We had never been on a ship before, so we did not miss peacetime comfort and amenities. It was recreation enough to lean over the railings on deck and feel the salt spray on our faces, to watch the changing panorama of the ocean and talk to the other passengers. As for the submarine scare, it only added to the excitement of our first voyage. We were exhilarated at the thought of the adventure that lay ahead. There were only two classes of passengers. First one was officers and the second one was troop. The Polish refugees belonged to the troop class. They lived on the lower deck and slept on the camp cots closely packed, row upon row. The rest of the passengers were assigned to the officers' class and had cabins on the upper deck. The mess room was common to all the passengers, and we mingled freely with one another. Lekha and I found that we were to share our cabin with two elderly missionary ladies going home on furlough. Sharing it would not have been mattered if it had not been a miniature cabin. Miniature means a mini cabin which is originally meant for two people. It could scarcely accommodate the four bunks that had been crowded into it, let alone the two extra people. The romance of the voyage soon began to fade away due to this crowdedness. In the beginning, I could not get used to the motion of the ship and felt sick. Who is I here, children? I is Nayantara Sehgal, who is telling her own experience of traveling to America by ship with her sister in this chapter. So, I could not get used to the motion of the ship and felt sick and dizzy. The one tiny porthole in our cabin framed a grey, tossing sea, and I rolled from side to side on my bunk, powerless against the ship's heaving rhythm. One night, I rolled right off the bunk onto the floor. Much to my annoyance and Lekha's uncontrolled hilarity, the airless cabin reeked of a stale odor. Yet, if I went to the deck for the fresh air, there was the zigzag ocean in full view to taunt me. When I did go on the deck, I had to muster all my self-control and try to think of the ocean in poetical terms instead of as the unleashed monster it appeared to be. But Lekha gave me moral support and ensured that I did not fall sick during the trip. And when I started enjoying the trip, I also started enjoying the food. We ate Navy style out of aluminium trays divided into sections. We had to queue up for our meals, which were doled out in the cafeteria manner. The strong American coffee we drank from white china cups tasted wonderful, as did the cherry pie, ice cream, and other delicious American dishes that were our daily fare. Now, our newfound friends of the ship were of different nationalities. There was a tall, attractive Maori army officer from whom we learned about New Zealand and his people, and a wiry English man who went about hunched in a dilapidated brown raincoat, complaining about the weather. Children, the meaning of dilapidated is old and in very bad condition. We argued with him about the war, the future of India, and the destiny of the British Empire. There was a towering blonde Dutch officer of the Royal Netherlands Navy in his glamorous blue and gold uniform, whose rumbling laughter and guttural voice enlivened our long evenings, and a shy, thoughtful young Chinese student who did not talk much but gazed soulfully at Lekha across the table where we gathered every day. Altogether, there were 11 different nationalities on board, a wide assortment of men and women whom the war had thrown together, most of them friendly and companionable. Once a day, the ship's megaphone boomed, "All hands abandon ship." At this signal, all passengers were required to drop whatever they were doing and rushed to the deck to which they had been assigned at the start of the voyage. It was a disciplinary exercise to prepare us for the eventuality of an enemy submarine attack. I could never bring myself to obey the signal at once. I would head straight for my cabin, unbathe my long, thick hair, brush and comb it free of tangles, rebraid it, give a final pet, and then find my way to the deck. "Are you mad?" Lekha whispered each time I arrived late on the deck. "Who cares what you look like? if we are attacked and have to jump into the ocean? I refuse to abandon ship, looking like a ragamuffin, or I declared with dignity. Besides, I have to keep up my moral. So children, today we have completed the first half of this chapter, En route to America. In our next online session, we will complete the second half of this chapter. Hope you all have understood the first half. Thank you and Saira.